One sec. You'll be there online. One sec. Yes. So this about how to. This topic is about how to crack basically the questions that appear in the competitive exams, especially with respect to the gate. So, are you able to hear me properly? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So, as far as the induction motor is concerned, in a gate examination, uh, what is the most relevant thing with respect to you is that if you can visualize a thing, if you can relate to a thing, if you can feel the thing, then only you will be able to answer the questions of the gate examination. So usually our practice is that we practice some previous 5-10 years question papers and then go and sit. It is also good, but it is not sufficient because usually the paper is framed by an IIT professor, and he will not look at the past 10-15 years paper. He will frame as however he likes to. So basically, this is the induction motor, the three-phase induction motor. How does it look like? So as you can see, this is a yoke part of it, and this is the base of it. So there are three leads coming out of it. So you can see different color, yellow, black, and one more color is hidden over there. So this is the stator winding, which are actually given supply to. We will give an external three-phase supply to this stator winding. So here inside you can see this blue box, cylindrical shaped box. Inside this there is a stator, and there is a stator winding over it. Stator winding. Similarly, you have a rotor. If you can see, this is a rotor, and at end it is shorted. Both this side also, see here also it is shorted, here also it is shorted. And in this type of rotor construction is called as the squirrel cage rotor construction. And there is another configuration of the rotor that is called as the wound rotor induction motor. So as far as the induction motor is concerned, its working and its principle and its operation, basically what happens is that we excite the stator winding, and by exciting the stator winding, there is production of what magnetic field. So it gets magnetized, and because of the magnetic field, there is a mutual induction between your rotor and your stator. So you can see over here, this rotor and stator are not electrically connected to each other. There is no electrical connection, but because of the principle of mutual induction and the formation of the three phase, you get a phase shift, and you get this rotor to rotate. So this rotor will rotate at a particular speed. So that speed is called the rotor rotational speed. And whereas the induction motor has some synchronous speed, that synchronous speed is ns is equal to 120 f by p. Okay, so that speed and your rotational speed, the difference between them is called as the slip percentage. So you have your synchronous speed ns minus your rotational speed divided by your synchronous speed. That percentage is called as slip. The distance between them is called as slip. So in induction motor, the main concept here is, see here, this is the stator. Stator is wound, and there is three phase, and your rotor north and south magnetic pole, it becomes an electromagnet. So every time what happens is there, north pole is coming towards north, so it is pushing it, so it is moving. Here again it is coming, so it is pushing, it's moving. Now suppose this magnetic field and this magnetic field is equal, so at that time it will lock and it will not rotate. It will not rotate. So there are some losses in the AC machines. So basically, the losses encountered in the AC machines are your core losses. That is in the stator. There is a core in the stator, so there is stator core losses, and in the stator there are windings also. The windings are made up of copper. So again, your winding losses. Similarly, you have your mechanical losses due to the elements. See, mechanical elements are connected. Okay, friction, windage, miscellaneous losses are there, stray losses. So these are the resistive heating losses. So remember, whenever we are talking about loss, it is always encountered in resistance. In inductance or capacitance, there will not be a loss. There will always be a drop, not a loss. Loss means only resistance. Okay. So this loss, it's a little blur, please, so bear with me. So this loss is represented as, see, in a single phase it is I square r, here it would be 3 I square r. So the rotor copper loss of a synchronous and induction machine will be considered. So this is the rotor copper loss. Obviously this is I square into r term. So slip, basically what is slip? See, now if your synchronous speed was equal to your rotor speed, see n here I have taken rotor speed, so your slip would be equal to 0. So if your slip would be equal to 0, so your rotor will not move at all. So the range of the slip is between 0 to 1. So here in this section, first we will encounter slip, then we will study the equivalent circuit model of the induction motor, then we will see torque speed characteristics, then the voltage relationship and the torque relationship, then torque and current relationship, and that torque speed curve. Based upon that, I have taken some 5 to 8 problems that have been repeatedly appeared in the gate. So if you will see and go, and if you purchase any book for gate from previous year's question papers, and you just see, you will be able to do it with my this thing, but you have to visualize the thing. So first of all, you have to visualize the thing. What happens is that your voltage and frequency in the rotor both depend upon slip. See, in transformer you have a transformer ratio, okay, n1 by n2. See, you have a primary winding, you have a secondary winding. So transformer ratio can relate to your primary voltage, secondary voltage. So your v primary is your proportional to your n primary, your v secondary is your proportional to your n secondary. So that you can get from the kVA equation also. kVA equation, you have v primary into I primary should be equal to v secondary into I secondary. And transformer is a constant flux machine. Your mmf from the both sides, mmf is ampere turns, so your current into number of primary ip np should be equal to isns. Similarly here, the role of that primary this number of turns is taken up by slip. So your rotor frequency would be equal to your slip times your stator frequency. So here I have written, see, the voltage and frequency induced in the, yeah, any point you are not understanding, you can please tell me. So I have to go a little bit fast because it's only 1 hour class. So the voltage and frequency induced in the rotor both depend upon the slip. So they are given by the following equations. Here you can see your F2 is equal to SF, where your F2 is what? F2 is your frequency of voltage and current in the rotor in hertz. Similarly, your IR would be equal to S times IS, and your I2 is equal to S times US. So this is the relationship between your rotor and your stator frequency. So as far as the equivalent circuit of the induction motor is concerned, induction motor is also called as rotatory transformer. So basically all the stator and the rotor thing, see, this is the this parameters you can generate from your no load test, okay. This parameter, the shunt parameters, no load test, similar to the open circuit test in transformer, whereas this parameter you can generate from the block rotor test, similar to the short circuit test of the transformer. So no load test is nothing but in induction motor, load, how do you apply? In transformer you apply load in terms of your current. You will increase the current and you will short it, and you will apply the rated current for short circuit test. For open circuit test, what you do, you apply rated voltage for open circuit test. But here, how do you apply open circuit test? Here would no load test would mean you don't put any weight on the induction motor rotor. Whenever the rotor is rotating, you have kept it free, you have not put any weight. Now in case you have to block, so you put some weight so that the rotor starts but it is not able to move, so you block that rotor. So these are the parameters which you will get from this. So the stator core and stator windings of a three-phase induction machine are exactly, see, here with synchronous machine and this, the stator is same, but the only thing is there is the differences in the rotor, because obviously in the synchronous machine, in the rotor you have DC supply also. Here it is only singly fed machine, okay. So now there are different configurations of rotors. See here, there are two configurations of rotors. One configuration is like this squirrel cage. You can see here why it's called squirrel cage. Earlier in the earlier, when French colonies were there, they used to put people over here and used to get them killed because of these razor sharp these things were there. So, and at the end rings, it has been, you can see both the sides, it has been at the end rings, they have been shorted. So this arrangement, you don't have any external resistance. So if you don't have any external resistance, you cannot control the current. Once you cannot control the current, you cannot limit the torque. So wound rotor induction motor is basically this type of constructions wherein you can insert external resistance. Here you can see this is the wound rotor configuration, whereas this is the squirrel cage rotor configuration. So here and here the difference is that this can be used for larger induction motor where we need torque control. So now we will see certain equations and the power flow diagram of induction motor. So okay, here we are. Yes. So what happens is basically in an induction motor, the input to induction motor is your basically your electrical power supply. That would be electrical power supply would be root 3 times V L I L cos phi in the form of three phase electric voltage and current. So once you are giving the supply, the first part that is encountering that supply is your stator itself. So the first losses are encountered in the machine I square in the stator windings and the stator copper loss. Okay, after that the same amount of power is as hysteresis and eddy see, this is lost in like in form of hysteresis and eddy current loss. After the stator you have what, an air gap. In that air gap you get a power that is called as the air gap power. So this air gap power minus your rotor copper losses will give you the power available power. So this available power, again you have some windage, friction and stray losses, and then finally you get a mechanical power. If you look here, there's a very good book called Electrical Machines by Chapman. If you want, you just give your email in the chat box. I'll send it to your email. So therein it's very clear. So here input is root 3 V I I L cos phi. Then first stage is stator copper loss. After that some core loss in the stator. You get power. After that rotor copper loss. You have then this thing. You convert power miscellaneous loss. See now here, we need not to remember this thing. Same thing we can explain with the diagram. So this is the diagram. Okay, we give supply here. Okay, supply. So stator winding, some losses there, core some losses there. Okay, between winding and core losses there, and there is a air gap here. Air gap, some power gets developed. So this air gap power is linking with the rotor, but there is some power loss in the rotor. So air gap power minus your rotor copper loss will give you the power converted power from your electrical power to mechanical power. But this converted power is not the actual output available. Then you have some bearings and you have some friction, windage, these losses, and finally you get output power. You can relate to it. Hmm? So I think you can relate to it. Sangeeta, did you understand?
Yes, sir.
So you can, if you see the diagram, if you can visualize it, you can do it. Okay. So main thing in gate examination or electrical engineering is that main question of the students when we were also studying, they used to tell we cannot see it, but we can see it, isn't it? So it is seeing. So seeing means yes. Here again I will repeat for you. So first of all you have supply. From supply what you will get, you are giving an electrical supply, and output you want mechanical. So motor means electrical supply, output mechanical. Generator would mean mechanical supply, here supply, and output is your electrical. So you're talking about induction motor. So here you are giving supply. So after the supply you are getting some loss in the windings of the stator, then some loss in the core of the stator, and then some power is getting developed in the air gap between rotor and stator. There is an air gap. Okay, because it's not electrically connected, it is isolated. Okay, it's not electrically connected. Then you encounter some copper losses in the rotor, and finally you have some p converted power. So this is not the output power available for use. Then you have some losses in there, bring bearings, some friction losses is there, some environmental condition, windage losses, finally you get output power. So your basically your power equation in your 12th class also you have studied. Power is equal to omega T. What is omega? Huh? Power is what? Equal to your torque into omega. Yeah, Sangeeta, tell me what is omega. Omega is your angular speed, that is 2 pi ns by
Angular
60.
speed. Okay.
That is
60.
2 pi ns by 60. Okay, 2 pi ns by 60. Okay, very good. So now from these very same things we have to convert this. Now here you are seeing the diagram. Okay, so in the rotor where the loss will take place, the loss will take place only in the resistance. So here from this particular diagram where we are, yeah, so let's take this part of the diagram, this part of the diagram to calculate the rotor current, only this part of the circuit. So we can see the circuit is like this. We can apply the voltage divider, or straight away we can write your current. It's a series circuit. Your current is IR is equal to ER divided by these two terms, JXR and RR. Okay, so you can straight away get this value here. Yes, see, you know that your ER in terms of your stator, ER, that is E rotor in terms of your stator, is slip times your I E stator. I already told you your relationship between your I rotor and I stator would be I stator is slip times I rotor. Okay. Similarly, your voltage in the rotor side is slip times your rotor in the slip times your voltage in the stator side. Similarly, I have written here. See, in terms XR not means I am trying to reflect it in terms of stator. In terms of stator. Similarly, this in terms of stator would be RR would be equal to S into RS, or RS would be equal to, if we have to write in terms of RR, it would be equal to RR divided by S. So here again, what I am doing is that I am simply writing my KVL equation. My IR is equal to ER divided by these two terms, Ohm's law, ER RR plus JXR. Okay, so this then RR I am converting it in form of what? In form of stator. So in form of stator, if I am converting it, so I have to write RR by S plus JXR naught by ER naught. So here you see this I get this value. Now if I want to write my power would be equal to 3 times I square R, okay, into RR. Okay, I square R value I have this RR by S plus JXR naught. So when we are taking this Thevenin value, when we are also taking into account the whole circuit, like not only this circuit, we have to take into, so we have to take the effect of this also in the resistance. So we have to add R1 plus this RR by S, similarly JX1, and this effect we have to take. So that you go to the book, because we cannot go in very detail, but I'm giving you a brief outlook. So when you are taking that thing, so you will arrive at this term. First, going to that, let's in small terms, let's express. So where can you, the only element in the equivalent circuit where the air gap power can be consumed is the resistor. Okay, so resistor, now we just saw that your stator resistance reflected in terms of rotor resistances R2 by S. So your P air gap would be 3 times I2 square R2 by S, and your copper losses in the rotor would be 3. This R2 is nothing but equal to RR. When I'm writing 2 na, 2 is my rotor resistance, or RR is also rotor resistance. So don't get confused. I've used two denominations, no problem. PRCL is equal to 3I. So you can have a relationship between. So if you write this SPAG, so SPAG means PRCL. You can see here PRCL is what? 3IR square RR, and I'm telling you R2 is equal to RR. So you can clearly write your PRCL is equal to, see here also I've written 3I2 square R2, so that you don't get confused. So here PRCL is equal to 3I2 square R2. So 3I2 square R2 is what? PRCL. So PRCL by S is equal to your PAG, or in other terms you can write P rotor copper loss is equal to S times PAG. And now you have your convert power in that side. So your P convert power is your P air gap minus PRCL. So P air gap, you know, P air gap is 3 times I2 square R2 by S minus 3 times I2 square R2. So you take this common, so you arrive at this 3 I2 square R2. So 3 I2 square R2 is nothing but as your PRCL, and you get 1 minus S by S, or you can substitute here PRCL is equal to S times PAG, and P convert is equal to PAG 1 minus S. Here you see P convert is P air gap minus PRCL. PRCL is nothing but S times PAG, which I have already told. So you get this value. Now if you want the value of the torque, so torque induced, see, power convert is equal to torque induced by omega m. So torque induced is power convert by omega m. So power convert is nothing but, you just saw here, it is 1 minus S PAG. So you can write 1 minus S PAG. And your mechanical power, your mechanical power, see, your slip is what? Slip is omega synchronous power minus omega mechanical power divided by omega synchronous power. Now, if you have to express omega mechanical power, you can express from the slip equation in terms of 1 minus S omega synchronous. 1 minus S cancel, 1 minus S cancel, PAG omega S. So similarly, you can substitute in this equation 3I2 square R2S if you want the equation for the torque also, like this. See, torque equation means T induced, you can substitute, instead of PAG you can substitute this value 3I2 square R2 by S. So finally, see here, if you want this equation, similarly like here also, for the rotor, if you are referring, you get this R convert value R2 1 minus S divided by S. So my most important concept is, now we have to go for the gate questions also. So already you are in sixth semester, you have studied electrical machines previously, so you will be able to relate to some of the concepts which I am explaining. So T induced is equal to 3 times V Thevenin square R2S. See, what I have done is, T induced was how much? T induced is your power in the air gap divided by omega C. So power in the air gap I'm replacing by how much? I'm replacing power in the air gap. How it can be written power in the air gap? It can be written 3 times I2 square R2 by S. I2, how it can be written? I2 or IR, in the very beginning I have told you here, it can be written like this. So instead of this I2 or IR, you can interchange IR and I2, no problem. So this square, I'm squaring this term, so this term squaring, when I'm squaring these terms, so I'm arriving at this particular thing, and I'm getting this value while I'm squaring this term, because again R2 by S omega sync R Thevenin plus. So this is my torque induced. So when do I get my maximum torque? Now if you see this condition, your maximum torque, if you have on the load side, if you have resistance connected, so according to the Thevenin theorem or the maximum power theorem, so the maximum power you will get is the magnitude of these two values, that is your R square plus these values. So that is the maximum torque you are going to get. So this is my T induced value. In order to calculate the maximum torque, what are doing is that your R2 by S should be equal to R Thevenin square under root of R plus X Thevenin plus X2 square, and where X I have written as X Thevenin plus X2 and R2 by S is this value. So this derivation I have derived on my own. Let me be frank and clear. You will not get this derivation in any book. This I have done on my own while I was making, previously I was teaching induction motor somewhere. Then I found it, and I will share you my notes, the actual notes also. You can go through it. So this value finally you arrive at. Now we are most important part is, let's solve some problems. Let's go to some problems and let's see. So Sangeeta, please read this problem for me.
A 230 volt,
Ah,
50 hertz, 4 pole
okay.
single phase induction motor is
Hmm.
rotating in the clockwise forward
Hmm.
direction at the speed of 1425 rpm. If
Hmm.
the rotor resistance at standstill is 7.8 ohm, then the
Hmm.
effective rotor resistance in the backward branch of the equivalent circuit will be.
Okay. Okay. Now you have read. Okay. So see, for this question to be done, you have to be very well versed with your induction motor torque speed characteristics. See, what happens is, there your induction motor starts, the slip range is 0. So at slip 0 and slip 1, it acts in a motoring mode. Okay. When the slip is negative, okay, what happens? The induction motor acts as a generator. Okay, this is the generating mode. And when the speed, this slip is greater than 1, see here slip is 1 and slip is 0. Okay, When slip is 1, it starts. Your slip is 1, your omega s is equal to 0, because omega s has to be 0 for slip. See, slip, when it can be 1, slip can be 1 when your rotational speed is 0. It is not rotating, because slip is your ns minus nr divided by ns. So ns by ns to cancel and become 1, your nr has to be 0. So your mechanical speed is 0, your slip is 1. Your slip is 0, mechanical speed is equal to your synchronous speed. So when slip is less than 0 or it is negative, it acts as a generator. And when slip is beyond 1, so beyond 1, okay, we understood. So here, see, we understood slip is the range is between 0 to 1. Okay. And after 1 till what frequency, or till what mode it plugging, it can go twice. So here 1 and here 1 twice. So in the backward direction, when we are talking about the speed, at the backward direction, remember the slip in the backward direction is 2 minus s times. 2 minus 1 is this 1, because this 0 to 1, this is 1, and backward direction 0 to 1 again here. So here you can see clearly I have written 2. So in the backward direction, 2 minus s. So remember that for generating mode, your slip is less than 0. Okay. And for motoring mode, between 0 and 1. So now we have read the problem aram se. Now we have to go for this problem, and we have to understand this problem. So whenever a problem like this in gate comes, every time a problem would be a new problem, we need not to panic. We have to relate our concepts. So one thing is that here synchronous speed we know is 120 f by p. So your 120 into 50 by p, we get the synchronous speed 1500 rpm. Okay. And from synchronous speed is given, mechanical speed is also given. So we can calculate our slip is your synchronous speed minus your mechanical speed divided by synchronous speed. So slip would be 1500 minus 1425, 15 minus 1425 divided by 1500. So you get this slip. So resistance in the backward branch. So resistance is in the backward branch would be equal to your resistance in the forward branch divided by 2 minus s, 2 minus your slip. You understood this? You get 4 ohms. Huh? Angita?
Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
understood?
sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Now
sir.
let's go for another question. Okay. So I have taken some 5 to 10 questions. You will be able to do it. See, a 400 volt 50 hertz 30 HP 3-phase induction motor is drawing 50 ampere current at power factor of 0.8 power factor lagging. So the stator rotor copper losses are 1.5 kilowatt and 900 watt respectively. So it is saying the copper losses are 1.5 and 900 watt respectively. The friction and windage losses are 1050 watt, and the core losses are 1200 watt. The air gap power of the motor would be. So where is the air gap power? So now you have, this is the question in front of you. I want one of you to read this question. I want Tejaswani, you read this question for me. You read, once you read this question. Yeah. Anyone can read. Yeah. Sangeeta, you will only read this question once you read. Hello? Are you listening? Anyone is there? Yeah. Pratibha? What happened? Yeah. Thank you. Are you listening? Are you listening?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. So please read this question. Please. What?
400.
Yeah. Please, other people. Yeah. A 400 volt. So by now you should.
50 hertz,
Okay. Yeah.
30 HP, three-phase induction motor is
Hmm.
drawing 50 ampere current at 0.8 power factor lagging. The stator and rotor copper losses are 1.5 kilowatt and 900 watt respectively. The friction and winding losses are 1050 watt and the core losses are 1200 watt. The air gap power of the motor will be.
See, the input power to the motor is root 3 times V I into cos phi. Okay. So this is the input power. So we have for the input power, if you beyond going to this point, we will go back again here. So we are giving an input power, okay, input power to the motor we are giving. Then is encountering after the input power, what we have to subtract from the input power, your losses of the stator core, the stator losses, copper and these losses. And then you have air gap power. And to the air gap power, what you have to subtract, rotor copper loss. And when you are subtracting rotor copper loss, you get P mechanical, P convert. To this power, what you have to subtract, power in the windage and the friction, and then you get output power. Now he is asking us about this air gap power. Only this thing he wants. Okay, so this is a gate problem that has appeared. It's one of the toughest gate which happened in 2008 by ISC Bangalore. So these are conceptual things. If you do 1,000 times also gate papers and remember formulas, it will not happen until unless you don't understand, visualize what point and where it is asking the question. Okay, so it is asking, the question is being asked here. So we know that, see, motor input power to the stator is √3, okay, times v value is given 500, your current value is given 50, and your this thing is given, your power factor is given. So here you can understand your voltage is how much for this thing, input power you calculated. Now the stator and the rotor copper losses are, now the stator and the rotor copper losses are 1.5 kilowatt and 900 watt respectively. So are we interested in rotor copper loss for now? No, we are interested in only stator loss, that is 1.5. So how do we get this value? So we have to do one thing. Air gap power of the motor is motor input to the stator. So motor input to the stator is how much? That you got 27.71, and the stator copper loss. Stator copper loss is minus 1.5 and minus the core loss. See, stator and rotor copper losses are 1.5 kilowatt. Okay, rotor no need because rotor is coming beyond the air gap power, and the friction and windage losses are also coming beyond, and the core losses are 1200 watts. Now see now you reapply there. Now you reapply the thing. See here. Now you reapply to this diagram only. What you want? The power in the air gap. Power in this air gap. You want this air gap is there. There you can see that air gap. In that air gap you want power. So you have your input. P input is you get your input. Input minus losses in the stator winding. Okay. Okay, stator winding. And there is stator core also. Stator core also. These losses, this input minus your winding loss and core loss will give you air gap power. Okay, then comes rotor and another thing. So it's asking only about this. So straight away we will get the answer, and we have to read the question once, twice, thrice. We don't have to jump to the jump for answering and applying all the formulas what we are remembering. Not like that. We have to understand the concept. Okay, we have to understand the concept. So simpler, see here, motor input power we calculate, and then we go for the stator copper loss, that is the winding. Copper means winding that is placed in the stator, and the core loss. So 27.51 minus 1.5 minus 1.2. So you get 25.0.1. Now it can ask you any question. From this particular question, it can ask you, tell me the copper loss in the rotor. Now if we ask the copper loss in the rotor, so that time you have to write 3I2 square into R2. So at that time he has to mention those values he has to give. Okay. So it can ask you any other question. This question can be framed in any which way. So you have to understand the concept, not to try to mug the answer of the solution. Now let's go to one more question. Okay. Who will read this question? You only read. The speed of, yeah, read please. Hello? Yeah, Sangeeta? Sangeeta?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You
The speed of 4-pole induction motor
Yeah, continue.
is controlled by varying the supply frequency while maintaining the ratio of supply voltage to supply frequency, that is V by F constant, at the rated frequency of 50 Hz and rated voltage of 400 volt. Its speed is 1440 rpm. Find the speed at 30 Hz if the load torque is constant.
Okay, now you read the problem. Now, Sangeeta, be online. You understood the previous problem?
Yes, sir.
So you can relate to the power flow diagram and you can get the answer to it. Huh? So if now you can switch off your mic. So you can see here. Switch off your mic, please. Yeah, please. Um yes, so Sayed, you also please. Uh, okay. So in this particular question, it's asking you the speed of a four-pole induction motor is controlled by varying the supply frequency while maintaining the ratio of supply voltage to supply frequency V by F constant. At rated frequency of 50 Hz and rated voltage of 400 volts, its speed is 1440 RPM. So what you get from this, what inference you get from this? One thing is that your frequency it is mentioning 50 Hz, okay, and rated voltage it is giving 400 volts, and its speed is 440 RPM. It's a four-pole machine. So you can calculate its synchronous speed. Your synchronous speed ns would be equal to 120 f by p. So 120 into 50 divided by p4, you will get how much? 120 into 50 is 6000. 6000 divided by 4 is equal to 1500. So you got its synchronous speed as 1500. Okay. So usually in a gate examination, what you do is that you remember certain values. For example, for a four-pole machine, your synchronous speed would be 1500 RPM. So yes, and for a six-pole machine, how much it would be? It would be again your 6000 divided by 6000 RPM. So for gate examination, certain values you to save time you should remember. One trick is that now you have this synchronous speed. You have 1500 RPM. Now you can calculate this the value of the slip, and please you can calculate the value of the slip. So why this noise is coming? Uh, yeah, Fakresh, please mute your mic. Mute your mic. Yeah, see, I'm muting your mic, and yeah. Please mute your mic because it's annoying. Please, all of you, mute your mic. Okay. So now the thing is that at rated frequency, we have to calculate the slip. So you can calculate the slip. You have your synchronous speed 1500, this rotational speed 1440. So 1500 minus 1440 divided by your, again, please all of you switch off this mic. On कर रहा है. Please switch off your, okay. Pakresh, um, Sangeeta, are you there? Sangeeta?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
please switch off the mic now. Whose mic is this? Or there's some noise in the this thing, no? It's disturbing. Yeah. So again, yeah, please switch off all your mics, please. Microphone switch off. So here you can see, you can calculate the slip. Now, once you have calculated the slip, now it's asking you to find the rotational speed. Find the rotational speed at 30 Hertz. Now, the rotational speed at 30 Hertz would be how much? See here. Now I will explain you. See, ns is equal to 120 f by p. So first you get the value of your synchronous speed, then you get the value of your rotational speed. But prior to your rotational speed, what you have to do is that, see, you have your 1440 divided by 1500, 1 minus s, and you get the value of slip to be 0.04. Now your new synchronous speed at 30 Hertz would be, because earlier your synchronous speed was at 50 Hertz. Now the synchronous speed will change at 30 Hertz. It would be 120 into 30 divided by 4. That would be 900 RPM. And now the new rotational speed would be ns 1 minus s, that is 1900, 1 minus 0.04, that is 1864. So this is your new synchronous speed. But okay, this is your new synchronous speed. So you'll get the value of 864 RPM. So you'll get the value of 864 RPM. None of you are present. Why it's coming? Okay. Are you listening? Any noises there? Sangeeta?
No, sir. No,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, for me only. Okay, did you understand this problem? Did you understand
Yes,
what I
sir.
have done?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
What I did is that first I calculated my this thing slip. and then I calculated my new synchronous speed. Then in that new synchronous speed, I need new rotational speed. What it is asking, at rated frequency of 50 hertz and rated voltage of 400 volts, its speed is 440. Now it's asking find the speed at 30 hertz if the load torque is constant. Speed means rotational speed. So I get this value. So another question like this will appear, and a very common question prior to moving to this question. How many questions we have done? Okay, yeah. So another question is like I'll read this question for you. A three-phase, four-pole, 400 volt, 50 hertz star-connected induction motor has following circuit parameters. So it has R1 value 1, R2 dash value 0.5 hertz, X1 is equal to X2 dash, that is equal to 1.2 hertz, Xm is equal to 35 ohms. The starting torque when the motor is started direct online, and the approximate equivalent circuit. So it's asking you the starting torque. The motor is it's asking you to go for the starting torque, and how do you go for the starting torque? So so it's asking you for the starting torque. How do you calculate the starting torque and how do you go about it? So 1 second, I just will wait. I'll just end this call. I'll rejoin you in 1 second. Yes, there is some problem, huh? Okay, yeah. Sangeeta, you're seeing? Sangeeta?
Yes, sir.
Now
But
yes, yeah.
yes,
Uh,
sir.
now, now that voice went. Okay, okay. Now that please switch off your microphones and don't do like that again, whosoever. So now three phase. See, I read this problem. I'm reading on myself. A three phase, four pole, 400 volt, 50 hertz star connected induction motor has the following circuit parameters. Your R1 value is given. Your R2 value, X1, X2 value, Xm value is given. So this problem relates to this particular circuit which we have earlier seen. This problem relates to your this particular value. T max is equal to 3 V Thevenin, or this in other terms, yeah, this 3 V Thevenin square R2 by S R Thevenin plus R2 by S square plus X Thevenin plus Xm whole square omega sync. So you have to, for gate examination, you have to remember this formula. But just remembering the formula will not help you. Just remember, see, for example, that air gap power they had asked you. If you just have remembered and you don't know the sequence from where it is coming, then you are in doldrums. So you don't just have to remember. Yeah, for your easy understanding, quick apply substitution based, sometimes you get very easy problem, you can do it. But sometimes you get a complicated problem there, only remembering a formula will not help. But now for time being it's okay. So this formula is very important here. So how do you go about this is that now you have read this problem. It's a three phase, four pole, 400 volts. So let's go to the problem. So what we'll do is that the starting torque. So the starting torque is equal to omega c, that is v2, that is v Thevenin r2 r1 plus r2 dash plus x square. Okay, that same formula is there. That formula, see, this omega sync, instead of omega sync, that omega synchronous, we can write it in terms of 2 pi ns by 60. 2 pi ns by 60, some I think some this thing printing mistake in the book. This should be 60, not 180. Okay, you resubstitute it as 60 and you see the calculation, you will get this value. I'll be submitting this PDF also. You, in that PDF also you can calculate it. So this is 60 divided by 2 pi into 1500. Value of your V is given, the star connected, 400 divided by root 3 whole square into zero point 0.5, R1 plus R2 dash whole square, R1 value given, R2 dash given 1.5 plus X value given. See here, R1 value given 1, R2 value given 1, R1 plus R2 dash 1.5 whole square, X1, X2 given 1, given 1.2, xm given 35. So here you can write. So your plus x square, x value also given. So you have to, for the maximum torque to happen, this value should be equal to this. So x1 plus x2 would be, you will get 2.4. So you no need to substitute this value. You can directly substitute this value, and you arrive at this particular thing, x square. We can write one, this and this should be equal for starting torque. Now one very important problem here is, which I'm seeing that is appearing in the examination time and again, is this see how many times this problem has arrived. Similar problem is there. See, a three-phase squirrel cage induction motor has a starting torque of 150% and a maximum torque of 300%. With neglect to rated torque at rated voltage and rated frequency, neglect the stator resistance and rotational losses, the value of slip for maximum torque is. So this question is very common. The value of slip for maximum torque. Here also you can see a three-phase squirrel cage induction motor has a starting current of 7 times the full load current and full load slip of 5%. So it's a question. So two questions have come with linking to this. If an auto transformer is used for reduced voltage starting to provide 1.5 per unit starting torque, and auto transformer ratio percentage should be. If a star delta starter is used to start this induction motor, the per unit starting torque will be. So this starting torque has some relationship with starting current. So you can see your, if you go to the equation here, your basically, we'll go up a little bit. So you torque is your 3V Thevenin square R2 by S. But from where this V Thevenin square R2 by S came, it torque was basically P air gap divided by omega sink. So P air gap divided by omega sink here. See here, it was basically P air gap divided by omega sink. So this air gap was, P air gap was 3I2 square R2 by S. This IR we expressed in terms of voltage and resistance and squared it, hence we got these terms. Now initially, if you can see, your torque is directly proportional to the square of the current and inversely proportional to the slip. So we have a common empirical formula. Your T starting torque would be equal to, write down in a notebook if you are having, P starting torque would be equal to T starting, if it is T starting torque, would be equal to I square starting current divided by S starting slip. So the ratio of starting to maximum, it is like your torque is directly proportional to the square of the current and inversely proportional to the slip. So that is very important thing. And one more important thing is maximum slip. Again, I have told you the when the maximum slip will occur. Suppose in this model you have a resistance in the equivalent circuit model. Here we have the equivalent circuit which I have drawn. Yeah, here we have the equivalent circuit. This is a resistive element connected, and here we have resistance plus your inductance. So as far the maximum power transfer theorem is concerned, if you have here also on the load also you have resistance plus some reactive element, then for maximum power, here you have to connect a complex conjugate. Means if here you are having R plus jx, then you have to connect R minus jx. Suppose here you have only R, and here you have R plus jx. So what is needed to be done? Can you only connect R? No. In that case, you have to connect the magnitude. The R value should be R square plus x square under root. So that value you have to connect. So the maximum slip will take place at maximum power transfer. That is also important. Now let's go back to the question. I'll be submitting you my notes. Go to the notes, not these also, and my proper notes also. These are a little blur. My proper notes I'll be submitting. There you will find, because this I had prepared just for today's class. So if you go to this question, so what I'm trying to tell you is that, read any question. So here, a three-phase squirrel cage motor has a starting torque of 150%. That means the current would be directly proportional to the starting torque square times, and maximum torque is 300%. Means maximum torque will be directly proportional to the maximum current, and it would be inversely proportional to the maximum slip. with respect to rated torque and neglect the value of slip. Now he is asking value of slip for maximum torque. Now let's see the question number 79. So what it give T starting torque is, it's giving saying T starting torque is 150 times the full load torque. 150%. 150% is 150 divided by 100. 150 divided by 100, you will get a value of 1.5. 1.5 into your T full load, and your T max, your starting torque is 1.5 times your full load torque, and your maximum torque is thrice your full load torque. Now you can see T starting by T max in terms of your full load, you can express 1 by 2, and now 1 by 2 he is expressing it in terms of 2 sm 1 square plus sm square. Now you'll be, sir, how you are taking this these values and all that, how you are taking. So it is simple. How I have taken, he's telling neglect the resistance and all that thing. So that means you are neglecting the resistance and all. Your starting slip, how much would be your starting slip in the very beginning? Your starting slip is equal to 1. Okay. So you know that T start S is equal to 1. Okay. So that value he is substituted here. So what he has done is that T start is equal to I start by S. I start square. So 1 by S. I start square by 1 by S square into T max. So this Sm is coming here. So this C 1 by 2 he has cross multiplied here, and he is arriving at this equation, and he is getting this Sm is equal to 26.8. You try this. One more question we will do. You will understand here. See, now the second question here in 80, question number 80. Again, somebody started it. Please stop it, please. Please, somebody, yes. It is, see, Sonika, who's just putting this voice? Fakresh. What happened to your mic? Fakresh? Sangita? Sangita?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Why this noise is coming?
Don't know, sir.
Please ask.
So we are not hearing any noise, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Okay. You're understanding what I'm telling. Any
Yes,
Yes,
point
sir,
you
we
sir.
have,
are understanding.
any point you have any doubt now? No, see, one more problem. One more problem is that, yeah, stop. Yeah, one more point ನೋಡಿ, ಈ ಕಡೆ ನೋಡಿ ಫಕ್ರೇಶ್ ನೋಡಿ, ಇದು if a transformer ಒಂದು transformer is used, so what is that, your transformer directly proportional torque directly proportional to current, ಆಮೇಲೆ inversely proportional to your slip. ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಇದೆ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಬೇಜ ಹತ್ರ ನೋಡಿ. I am very weak in Kannada, but I am trying my level best, so you have to keep in your mind. So now another question is coming, is that a 3-phase squirrel cage induction motor has a starting current. So it says I start is equal to 7 times full load current and full load slip of 5%. So full load, your starting slip is full load slip would be 1. Okay. So 5% of 1 is 0.05. Okay. Now the question starts. If an auto transformer is used for reduced voltage starting to provide 1.5 per unit starting torque, the auto transformer ratio would be. So what it is asking is the auto transformer slip ratio would be. So please see, now here your starting torque is 7 times your full load torque. Okay. And slip at full load is 5%. 5% of what? 1. Because at full load slip is 1. 1 into 5%, 5 by 100, 0.05. Now when auto transformer starting is used, now remember one thing, TST would be equal to your IST divided by S times starting slip, that is your 0.05. Okay. So this would be IST square and divided by ST starting slip, that is your 5%. So and TFL would be equal to your IFL. Okay, IFL divided by your SFL. So now you can clearly see, now your 2ST 1 by ST. Okay, so IST directly proportional, TFL directly proportional. Now inversely proportional is the ratio. This is the ratio. So this ratio you have to calculate. Let this ratio be X%. So here it's telling you this ratio, starting torque and full load torque ratio. If you read the question properly, If the is used for reduced voltage starting to provide 1.5 per unit starting. So that means your starting torque to your full load torque ratio is giving is 1.5. That is T start to 1 is 1.5. And this I start to I full load, he is telling I start is equal to 7 times I full load. So this is 7 times. That means IFL, IST you can write here 7 IFL cancel 7 square. And now he is asking you about this ratio. How much would be that ratio? And that ratio you 1.5, 7 square, x square, and your SFL square. That is your 0.05. Okay, or in terms other terms 1.5 and other values you have put cross multiply, you will get 78.25. The most important thing to notice over here is that your torque is directly proportional to the square of the current and inversely proportional to the slip. Okay, and now he is asking for the reduced voltage starting. The voltage starting is x square times. Now in terms of star delta, this x square value would be 1 divided by root 3. You know why? Because in delta your phase voltage is equal to your line voltage, but in star your phase voltage is not equal to your line voltage. In star it is equal to root 3 times. So that ratio you have to keep in mind. It would be 1 by root 3. So that 1 by root 3, if you are squaring here that same value 1 by root 3, this x square would be equal to 1 by root 3 ka whole square. 1 by root 3 ka numerator 1 square would be 1, root 3 would be 3. You remember this formula. This is very important. TST by TFL is equal to IST square IFL into x square into S full load. This formula is very important. And this formula, how it came? It came from the above formula only, but it is easy to remember. Now same here also, if you read the same question, uh, if a star delta starter is used to start this induction motor, the per unit starting torque would be. So now in a star delta starter, we know that we don't have to assume the transformer ratio, because the ratio would be 1 by 3. So directly we have to calculate now. Uh, See, instead of x square, we'll put the value 1 by 3. Okay. Now here he is not giving the value of this 1.5. His earlier he is asking, here he is giving the value 1.5 per unit. Now he is asking to calculate this TST by 2 T full load, and he is giving this question. So 1.5. So you have to calculate here TST by T full load is not given. You have to calculate x square value is 1 by root 3. Substitute here 1 by 3. This value 7, it will not change. This value 0.05, it will not change. 1 by 3, 7 square into 0.0, so you will get 0.816. See, this question of this transfer torque and current and slip, na, many times I have seen in the past 10-15 years in the induction motor. At least every year this will come for 4 marks, 2 marks. So this problem, if you can have a strong grip over this, and if you are lucky, so you can easily within 2 minutes of the gate examination you can get 4 marks. Okay, so I'll conclude my chapter, this discussion here. Any questions you are having, Sangeeta? Any?
No, sir.
So
No, sir.
no. You are in which semester?
8th sem, sir.
8th